And since we have the wages table that's all full of nulls, we're going to use another function that's designed for nulls, and it's called isnull. So basically, it checks the column to see if there's a null value. So what our boss wants us to do is display the employee ID, the hourly wage, the commission, and the salary for each employee. But if the value is null, it needs to be replaced by zeros. So the boss does not want to see the word null all over the place. So what we're doing is sort of similar to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste because I don't like to do too much typing. I'm going to have to change my select a bit. So I've got emp ID, comma, and then I need to check hourly wage to see if it's null. So I'm going to say is null, hourly wage, comma. So if it is null, then display it as 0.00. And I'm going to give the column a heading here of hourly. Okay, so that's my first one. Now for commission, it's going to be similar. So I'm going to check for is null on commission. And if it is null, I want 0.00. And I'm going to give that a column heading of commission. And finally, I'm going to check is null on salary. And if it is null, 0.00 will display, and I'm going to call it salary. And all of this is coming from wages. And let's go ahead and run it. So no more null. And I can see I've got zeros instead of 0.00, which is what I wanted. That means I need to do a cast. Okay, and I'm going to have to cast it as a decimal. So here I've got cast, left parenthesis in front of is null. Okay, and then I'm going to say as decimal 10, 2, and I'm still keeping as hourly for the column heading. And we have to do that for the next one as well. So it's cast, and I'm casting as a decimal 10, 2, oops. And I'm going to probably push this down to the next line. So I'm going to do a cast here as well. As decimal, 10, 2. Okay, and now I'm going to run it again. And now it is displaying the null values as 0.00, which is exactly what the boss wanted. So I'm going to move my closing comment down. And then for our very last one, back when we covered grouping, we said that we could use the case statement to get rid of nulls in the total rows. So this scenario is going to show you how to do that. So our scenario is our boss would like us to display the vendor state and the total number of vendors with the totals by the vendor state. They would like to see state total displayed instead of null. And state total is much more user-friendly. So we're going to go ahead and run it without the case statement first. So this is the query without the case statement. You can see we're using with rollup, and we'll execute this. And here you can see we have null. which is really not the most user-friendly label. Okay, so we're going to modify the query just a little bit to display the text state total instead of null. And we're also going to add a little grouping level to this so that it'll group by state. So for our select, we are going to have a case statement. And we're going to have when grouping, and we're grouping on vendor state, is equal to 1. Then display state total. Okay. Otherwise, if it's not a 1, display vendor state. And now we're going to end, and we'll give this a little column heading of vendor state. Okay. And so that is replacing what we had before as vendor state. And then we're still going to keep our count. And we're going to still keep with rollup. So let's go ahead and run it. And here you can see we have the state total. Okay, so adding the case does get rid of a null. And then just as a little reminder, if you're wondering why we're checking for a 1 here, the grouping function automatically returns a 1 when the heading would be null. So that's why we're checking for a 1. So it's only going to be 1 if there's null, and that's why we want to display a different heading there. So at this point, we are done. You are going to want to save this and upload.